Okay, welcome to the webinar, CRM and Salesforce Automation. So who are we? I am Damien Edwards, Business Development Manager of Interface, and with me I have Andy Naylor, our Projects Manager.
Hi, if you've got any questions throughout the webinar, just put them in the box provided and we'll try and answer them either throughout the webinar or towards the end when we've got a bit of spare time.
Okay, so we're partners of Bitrix24. We are located in Sheffield in the UK and New York. We provide all pre-sale support, so we can answer anyone's questions, any technical questions about Bitrix ahead of making a purchasing decision. We're able to provide full implementation support, including customization work. We can provide a hosting solution if you're interested in BizPace or Enterprise, one of the self-hosted solutions. We're able to provide that hosting for you, and we provide a premium ongoing support solution. So what is Bitrix24? A collaboration suite of over 35 tools, currently more than 1 million businesses. Those will be cloud and self-hosted businesses using and managing their activities within Bitrix. Available as a cloud on a monthly package, or as a self-hosted solution where you buy the software license outright, and pricing starting from, for the self-hosted, $4,990, for the cloud around $99 a month. So why use a CRM? CRM processes and qualifies inquiries in a structured manner and quickly and efficiently. Allows you to build a full picture of all your customers' activities, quotes, orders, all interactions that your staff have had with those customers, whether they're sales interactions or customer support interactions. CRM allows you to monitor your team's effectiveness, how many deals you've won, how many you've lost, and also allows you to forecast your sales on a month-by-month basis. Okay, so we're going to look at, firstly, how to set up the CRM. There's a couple of things that you need to do in the beginning to get going, and then afterwards we'll look at sales process from receiving a lead to winning the deal. So in setting up, there's kind of 4 areas really that key areas that you need to look at. Firstly, we need to get our data in, so we can put that in manually, but it is possible to import that from other systems, so we'll look at how we do that. We need to add our users and configure user permissions, so give the right users access to the right areas of the CRM. We can customize the layouts of the companies and contact records, etc. And we're going to look at how you would integrate your email clients. Okay, so Andy's going to show us how we import into the company's record in the CRM, and then we're going to import some contacts as well and see how we can sync the companies with the contacts.
Yes, so starting off, we'll import the companies to the CRM. If you are starting on a blank canvas and you don't have any companies or contacts imported, it is vitally important that you import the companies first. You do that so that once you are importing, secondly, the contacts, that there is a field within the contact spreadsheet that says company name, and which will allow you to map the contacts to the company. So first of all, if we go to the little cog icon and import companies, it's asking for a CSV. So we'll firstly just take a look at the company's CSV. On here we've got a simple 3 fields. The first field is mandatory, and it is required. and that is the company name. The second is company type, and then finally we've got a company phone number. You can add multiple fields here, and I'll show you how to map them across to the relevant fields on the CRM in a moment. So if we first of all choose that file, you can select a default responsible person here. So that would mean that once you import all the companies, the default responsible person would be this individual. And then finally, if we select the column separator, so here's the mapping of the fields. So on the right hand side is the fields on the CRM, and on the left hand side are the fields within our CSV. So as you can see, Bitrix has already automatically picked up the company name on both fields, on sides, the CSV and on Bitrix, and then it's not picked up the phone number. So all we need to do for this is scroll on the right hand side down to work phone.
Okay, so that would be because we've named the company, we've given the company name and a company type the correct header title, and it's found it, yeah. And so, but the work phone, obviously the description's slightly different, so it's not found it.
That's correct, yeah. So we can basically just quite easily just pick the field that we want to map that across to.
Mm-hmm.
So this is our example data here. So if we click on next. So here, this is the duplicate control, and this basically checks whether the item in your CSV exists. So in this case, it would replace the existing, and also merge is if the contact already existed, and it would just update that entry.
Okay.
And then finally, uniqueness control. This basically just this is the criteria that the Bitrix checks against the CSV. So in terms of if we just did the name, that would be company names are quite commonly the same. Mm-hmm. So it wouldn't just be, you wouldn't just be required to use this. You could use the phone and the email for some unique entry.
But you could select which ones of those you want to use. I think is name mandatory, or I think name's probably mandatory. So you'd need to select at least one of them, but you can select three. It would depend on the situation, wouldn't it? So sometimes company name would be enough. Sometimes selecting all three would be too much because it's not going to find those correct matches. It may be that they have a series of telephone numbers, and the one you've got in the system and the one you've got on the spreadsheet is different, and it doesn't find a match and it doesn't import it. So choosing how you decide which ones to choose, it depends on the individual situation. Mm-hmm. very much.
Okay, so if we click on next now, that should start the import. So there you go, two companies successfully imported. So now if we go into the contact section, and then in the same area we can import a custom CSV. And again, it's asking for a CSV file. So in this case, we are looking for, we have entered these field headers. So again, the mandatory fields are first name and last name for a contact, and then this field here, the company, is very important because this is how the contacts are associated with the company on Bitrix.
Okay, so if we didn't have that field, I'm guessing the contact would be imported, but it wouldn't map. It wouldn't associate itself with a company.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, so it wouldn't be assigned to a company. It would just be on its own on the system. Okay, so if I choose this file to import, and again, there are a few fields that you can fill in here. Again, if you want to make these contacts responsible for a specific person, you can select on here, select from the company structure, and then just need to select the column separator type. So again, like the companies, you can map your fields across. It's found the first four fields here. It's just the phone number, so we just need to select the work phone, and then the email address is work email.
So this can be a bit confusing, but the fields on the left are the column on the left are the fields from the spreadsheet, and the fields that we're selecting in the drop downs are the fields within Bitrix that it's going to import into.
Yeah, that's correct. Yes. Okay, So if we click on next, very much like the companies, we can check for duplicates again, and the difference with this one is you have the full name of the person. Now this is quite common that there are a lot of people called the same, so then again you are bringing in the same uniqueness control with the email and the phone, so you can select all three or individuals like we spoke about.
Okay, so something like full name and email would probably be sufficient usually, because email is a very unique thing.
Yes. Okay, so if you click on next, and then there we go, successfully imported 2 contacts. So now if we go into a company and scroll down, we can see here that they've been imported. So click on the demo company and then click on the contacts tab. We can see there that James Edwards, one of the contacts that we imported with the company name, the demo company, has successfully associated itself with the company.
Okay, thanks very much. Okay, let's have a look at secondly permissions then. So we have imported our contacts into the company. We want to assign correct permissions to users of the system. So firstly, we want to give people in the sales department access to the system and then decide which areas they have and what type of access they have. So if we go into settings within the CRM and into permissions and click on access permissions, so we can see that we've got one level of access permission existing already, and this is for administrators. So not everyone's an administrator. Those will be the people who are technically in charge of the system. What we want to do is add another level. So we've got a role over here called sales. Now I'm just going to check that role, see whether that's going to be suitable for us. So we can see that people who are assigned this role have access to most areas of the system in terms of all access, and they have some restrictions on leads in that they can only access their own leads. I think that's generally suitable. What we might just do is just prevent delete for companies, contacts and deals. So this would mean that anyone who's assigned this role is only able to delete companies and contacts that they're responsible for. So it prevents people deleting other people's contacts. So we'll save that. Now we're happy with that particular role. So we've created the role, or we've edited the role and made it suitable for us. We just need to add an access permission now to a group. So we're going to look into a department. Okay, so we've got a department here called sales, all department employees, and we're going to use that one. So anybody that's added to the sales department within the company structure is in this group. So what would happen if you weren't in that department or you weren't an administrator? Could you access the CRM? No, you can't access CRM at all, no. So if you're not in one of these two groups, you don't have any access to the CRM. In fact, you don't see the link to the CRM in the menu item at all. So this is a common question we get when people are starting out. They can't see the CRM. They don't know why it's not installed. It is installed, but you don't have access to it. So you need to speak to your administrator. So yeah, so we've created a nice structure. We've got admins who have this administrator role, and we've got sales department, people within our sales office who have the sales role. And we can change that role if we want, but we chose that sales was the most appropriate one. And we click on save, and now everybody within that department will have access to the CRM. Okay, let's have a look at how we can create a layout, customize the layout for our companies and contacts records. Let's go into a company, and we can see that we've got a number of fields available to us at the top of this company record. We want to create now a custom field. I want to know the value of the size of this business in terms of its sales turnover. So we're going to create, Andy, if we can, a field called turnover.
Okay, so for this we just need to go to the CRM settings and then into form and report settings and then custom fields. So you can see here, this is where you would get access to create a custom field for any of the CRM elements. And in this case, we're going to add a new custom field to the company. One important thing to note, when creating these custom fields, you can actually, from the import spreadsheet that we created earlier, you can actually import data into these custom fields via the header that you...
Okay, yeah, so actually what you could do is, if you create a custom field at a later date after you've added your data, you could re-import your data and merge it and update a custom field or any other fields.
That's correct, yes. Okay, so if we add a field here, we can, as Damien said, he wanted a field called turnover. You can make that a required field if you like. In this case, we're not going to. We're just going to create it as a number field. So if we save that, and then go back into the companies section.
Okay, let's have a look. Open up the company record again. And to add that to our top panel up here, we need to select this button here to drop down to view all the fields available. And this is a new field, so we need to add it in. We can see it here, add it into the list. So I can see my turnover field here now. I'm going to pull this up to the top, and we can minimize that area now. So I've got my turnover field here. I'm able now with drag and drop to add this field to any area of this top panel. I'm going to sit it over there, and we're also able to edit these fields independently. I don't need to click in to edit the full record, so I don't have to wait for the page to load, to the edit screen to load. I can click into any of these items and change the details very easily. So
I think that's a good advantage of being in the blue section, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can click and edit, whereas if you're in the area that you opened up earlier, you can't click and edit.
Yeah, so you can't click and edit any of these fields, but and we can hide when we're done with those fields. We can hide them down there. So you can really create your own personal layout here. You can do this in the companies and contact sections. And if I'm an administrator, I get this link here, save preferences for all users. So I can choose to display this layout to all my users, which makes kind of a lot of sense. Alternatively, you can let your users create their own layout. Okay, so that's layouts. Once we've created our layouts in various modules within the CRM, the final thing to do really is to integrate our external email client. So if we can open up that, Andy, in settings.
So if you go back into the CRM settings and then click on email integration, you can see there we've got some details set up. But all you need to do to set up your own mailbox is enter an external email address in here, and then you are required to enter in the server connection details for that specific email. And now what that'll let you do is, if you CC in this email address here, an email a recipient that is in the contact section of the CRM, that will pre-populate the stream of that contact. So okay. I think Damien's just going to show you.
So that's very useful. So we don't have to copy and paste emails into contacts in the CRM. This will sync them up if we use this as a CC address. This is a tool that's available in both the cloud and self-hosted. In the self-hosted, there is actually a way to sync all emails without using a CC address. So I could sync all emails sent and received from an external email client. I could create a copy of those in my contacts in Bitrix without having to use this. But this is a very simple way of doing it, of synchronizing emails, and doesn't require any implementation or too much implementation work, and available on both cloud and self-hosted.
I think it's quite important to know as well, once that connection's been made between you and the contact, the person replying doesn't have to CC the individual in.
Okay.
Creates a...
Okay. Yeah, I think it adds something to the header of the email.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you just go into the contact and just check what that looks like in the stream.
So let's go into... Okay, so this would be an example of an email that's been sent from an external email client but has been copied into the stream of a contact. So I can see the date of the contact, see who it's sent to and from, and then description of the email here, and we can drop down to see the full email. Okay. Okay, so we've looked at some of the main areas to set up the system, imported the data, set the right permissions, designed some layouts, and then integrated our external email account. Let's have a look at now an example of a sales process from receiving a lead. In this instance, we're going to receive a lead from a website form. We're going to process that lead and then generate a deal and quote from that, and just send a quote out to the client on a custom PDF form, quote form, and then finally we're going to win the deal, and we're going to generate. We have a process that's going to generate an invoice and also a PayPal payment request. So we'll demonstrate some integration with a third-party system at the end. Okay, so we've got a form on our website.
So this form is, like I say, as Damien mentioned, it's on our front-facing public website. Now, with the cloud version and the self-hosted version, you can use the REST API to send these details to create a lead.
Okay.
With the self-hosted version, you have got a little bit more flexibility and possibility to create things other than a lead. So you may want to post a message to the activity stream via a contact form.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So this is just going to create a lead, and it's quite a simple form as well. You could add additional fields to this. I think maybe drop-down fields if you want to know a bit more about what the customer's interested in before at the point they're submitting the form. You can have drop-down fields with questions about products that they're particularly interested in. In this instance, we're going to complete the form and submit this. So the form's been submitted. We go into our CRM again and into the lead section. So we can see that we've got a new lead at the bottom here. So open up the lead.
I think it's important to note that on the title of the lead, we've specified that title of that lead to be the company name.
Okay.
Whereas you can set on the connection, you can set particularly what you want it to be called.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense that the lead is the name of the company, but it might be Mark Corporation / and then maybe where it came from or something like that. We can actually see in the lead that's coming from the website the name of the company here. The name of the person that's completed, made the inquiry, and we can also see importantly the source. So we simply call this website, but you can have any number of different sources for these particular leads. Okay, so I'm going to make contact with the company. I'm going to find out a little bit more about particular products they're interested in, and once we've done that, we're able to then add the products to this lead. So this company is interested in a training course. We're going to select that. And we'll save that to the lead. Okay, so we've received an inquiry from the website. Came in very quickly. Gets assigned to me here. I've spoke to the customer. I've added a product that they're interested in to the lead. I'm happy that they're a good company. We want to follow them up. So obviously some of these we may not want to follow up. At this point we can close the lead down, but in this case we're going to follow this one up. So we're going to generate a deal, a contact and a company from this lead. Actually different things you can do here, but the default setting on our system is deal, contact and company. Click on this link. So it brings in the information for me to review from the lead. I'm going to at this stage add a telephone number, and we're going to I could add obviously any other information that I've found out about the business at this stage if I want to do that. Okay, so we've got a lead. It's brought in contact information, put in the value of the lead, and we click into contacts. Sorry, this is a deal. We click into contacts. We can see the contact. We can see the company that this is associated with. All I need to do now, after speaking to the customer and deciding what product is they're interested in, is generate a quote for them. Click on quote, and this is now, as we can see, generated a new quote number 27, and we can review this quote by downloading a PDF. Let's click and open that. Okay, we can see a custom layout for the PDF there. Happy with that, and so we can now forward this on. Now we don't need to use an external email client.
I think just going back to the PDF, with both the cloud you've got the doc designer, and with the self-hosted you have got the files to edit those files.
Sure, okay, so I think you can do, in both, you can do a custom quote layout.
Yeah,
slightly different process.
The same with,
yeah. Okay. What we'll probably do actually here is add a probability. Having spoke to the customer, we've decided that there's a good chance, 25% of getting this, and we've also found out that they're expecting, if they're going to place the order with us, to place it by the end of the month. Adding those two fields allows us to generate forecasts. So I know I've got a 25% chance this month of generating a deal worth this amount. So that's useful information to have. So we're going to send this on to the customer. Oops. Okay, and it's sending out. It's brought in the company's the contact's email address there. It's attached the quote for us. All I need to do is add in a little message to the customer, and we can send that. Okay, so we're done there. Let's just look at the contact record, and we'll be able to see whether that quote synced into the contact record. So this is the quote that we've just sent today at 3:37, and I can see description text, and I can also see the quote there. So every action that we've made gets synced into the contact record. Okay, so let's just go back into the deal. So we've received an inquiry from a website. We spoke to them and qualified them. We've added a product based on our conversation to that lead. We've then converted the lead to a company, a contact, and a deal, which are all associated with each other. We've generated a quote with a nice custom branded PDF, which we've been able to send to the customer without using an external email client from within the system, and all our actions have been synced into the contact stream, so we see a full history of the interactions with this particular customer. All that we're going to do now is update the deal stage. So it's important we keep track of where we are with this deal. So the deal as it came in was stage in development. We've got these other further stages here. Spoken with, well, we went through that, we did that quite quickly, and then we went on to the stage where we produced a quote. So we'll update the stage to quote, and we can see down here that it's generated a notification. You have a follow-up call booked for this deal. Let's just open up the notification center and see that in there. So you have a follow-up call booked for this deal. So as we updated the stage to quote, it's run a process in the background that's booked a follow-up call in for us. So can we just have a look at that process, Andy?
Yeah, so if we go into the CRM settings again, and then automation, and then business processes, Again, this is the area where you can see that you can create business processes for all the CRM elements. And in this case, we were running a business process on the deal progress on a stage change. So if we click into here, this is a sequential business process. When Damien clicked on the quote stage, it reflected against this condition here. So it met the criteria of the stage change and then performed the action blocks below. So the notification you saw, this was on call booked, and then it will wait 7 days and book a call in to follow up that.
Okay, and then we've got two of the processes that run as and when we update in further stages on this deal.
Yeah. So what we're going to do in a moment is we're going to click to close and win the deal. And then what that will do is it'll generate a email to the customer. It will notify the sales manager on the system within Bitrix, and then it will create an invoice. And as we mentioned earlier, it will also create an invoice within PayPal from an external integration.
Okay. So let's go back into the.
Just need to go back into the deal.
So we've had a conversation. We've sent the quote to the customer. We've had further conversations with them, and we've got these further stages here where deal is promised and deal is closed won.
Yeah, just a point to note on these stages. These are the stages that we've actually created ourselves. You can go in. There's an area within the CRM settings where you can create your own stages if you wanted to. These aren't prefixed.
Okay. Yeah, sure. So when we update to this stage promised, which is a later stage in this sales process, click back into the business process, we can see that we've got a condition called promised. When that's met, runs down this business process branch here, and in this instance, it creates a task here, which is assigned to someone in the finance department to run a credit check, and we've got a system where it will feed back, are they good for credit or not good for credit, and we get a notification as a salesperson, as a person responsible for this particular prospect. I need to know whether they're going to be good for credit, whether I can move the sales process further anymore. And then finally, we get approval to say that they're good for credit, and we go ahead and win the deal. So firstly, I've got a notification, say your team has a new sale. Okay, so this is sent out to everybody in my department. And then secondly, we've got a couple of further notifications here. Let's just open up the notification center so we can see them a little bit better. So it's done two things. Firstly, it's generated an invoice within Bitrix. Open that up. And then secondly, it's told us that it's generated an invoice within PayPal. Let's just log into PayPal first of all. Okay, so log into this test environment. Okay, so that's the
So if we go back into the notifications, and then if we click on the PayPal invoice, because we've logged in now.
Oops, we open it up in the same. Okay. So the system's generated two things for us. Firstly, it's generated a PayPal invoice, which we can see here. This is the product that we added earlier, training course. Brought in the value and quantity, and this PayPal sent this to our customer as well. And then secondly, it's generated an invoice within Bitrix. And we can see when we open up the invoice number 48. It's associated with the company that we created, and we can also see here that the stage of this invoice is PayPal invoice sent. So we kind of got to the end really of the process. We generated or we received a lead from a form which was integrated within Bitrix through the API. We qualified that lead and added a product to it from Bitrix product catalog. We generated a quote with a quote PDF, a branded quote PDF that we sent to the customer. And then we had some processes running that scheduled a follow-up call. We had a process that ran, if needed, to request to create a task to generate to request whether they're good for credit. And then finally, when we won the deal, generated the business process, generated an invoice within the system, and also integrated with PayPal to generate an external payment request within PayPal. So I think that's quite a simple process, but we've got quite good use of Bitrix in the middle there, and then we've got integration at the front end with a website, and then integration at the end there with a payment gateway as well. So it's quite a neat system. Okay, so Bitrix is available as a cloud monthly solution or as a self-hosted solution where you buy the license as a lifetime license. What's the difference? Well, both actually include all the modules that we've looked at. So both include the same modules: leads, deals, quotes, invoicing, reporting, etc. So the full functionality of the CRM is available in both solutions. Both include the ability to customize page layouts. Both include the full business process tool that we looked at. I think the difference or the benefit of a self-hosted would be that you can create a little bit more customization in terms of the page layouts. It is possible to do more integrations with the self-hosted, including the PayPal integration that we showed you. And
yeah, you've got a little bit more with the self-hosted. You've just got a bit more availability with the API, I think, compared to a bit more flexibility and openness with the API compared to the cloud version.
Yeah, I think there's I think we're able to do forms, integrate web forms with the CRM on the cloud version, but there's kind of not much beyond that you can do. So self-hosted is really useful for those sort of third-party integrations. So in summary, we were able to import the data. We created a custom page layout. We created some custom permissions for the user group that we decided to use. We were able to build up a 360-degree view of all the customer interactions. So those are the quotes, any comments that we had with the customer. We can also add in things like customer service interactions, help desk interactions, that sort of thing. We ran a couple of automated processes in the background, saved, which added structure to the process, but also saved a fair amount of time. We were able to integrate with external systems such as PayPal, and as we explained then, there's some additional functionality available in the self-hosted, although most of the features we've looked at are available on the standard cloud packages.
I think with the experience that we've gained, we've worked with quite a lot of clients, is that I think building the initial foundation of the site, like we went through at the beginning, setting it up, importing the contacts and companies and some permissions. I think getting that right initially will set you in a good way moving forward with Bitrix.
Yeah, and a partner would be able to provide implementation support to do all that from the beginning. So a partner such as ourselves will be able to do those initial implementation, things like importing the data, but also design a process like this, like we've looked at, and build in those integrations where necessary. So that's it, coming soon. We've got a webinar focusing solely on business processes. We're also going to be looking at project automation. So what happens after you win a deal? Where do you go with that within Bitrix? And in 3 or 4 weeks, we're going to be looking at HR tools as well. So that's it. We'll see if we've got any questions. We've got a bit of time left. If you want to add your questions into the questions box, we'll do our best to answer those. can you integrate with Xero for accounts? Yes, yes. There's no integration pre-built within Bitrix. It's generally all done in a custom way, but we as partners have built integration with Xero before, so that's very straightforward. So whereas in the process you looked at, we generated a PayPal payment request, you might want to generate, and we also generated an invoice within Bitrix. It might be you want to copy that invoice into your accounts process, because of course Bitrix, that has an invoicing module, doesn't handle things like company tax returns and sales tax returns and things like that. So you might want to integrate with your accounts package as well. So that's possible, yes.
Somebody asks, how can I access your training manuals? If you go to bitrix24.com/support and scroll down, you can find some good tutorials on there with regards to, I think if you clicked, with regards to the cloud and the self-hosted as well.
So we've got a question, what if a contact has no company or a company has no contact? Will CRM handle these types of leads? Yeah, you can. I mean, so some businesses don't, some companies deal with individuals and not companies. And if that's what you do, then you can have a form that just has a contact's name, and that can generate a lead, and you can convert that lead. So when we converted our lead, we converted it to a company, a contact, and a deal all at the same time. But your process can just convert the lead into a contact and a deal, or just a contact. So that's fine. We've got a question about how can I rewatch this video. Video is recorded and will be available on our website, intraface.com/webinars. Be available on there to watch in about an hour's time, and also on there you can see other webinars. We do a webinar each Monday on a different subject. Can I create a custom quote form? I think they might need a PDF to send to the customer. So I think within Bitrix, when you generate a quote PDF, there's a standard template, a plain template, but you can, I think we looked at it quickly, you can create a fully branded quote PDF. And there's different ways of doing that. So in the cloud, there's a tool that allows you to create that within self-hosted. It's done slightly differently. Yeah. Your partner would be able to advise you on how best to create custom quote PDFs, because of course they need to be branded. There's no good sending out a quote header without company details, fully branded company details. So it's fairly straightforward, standard sort of thing. Okay. Okay, I think that's it. Don't think we have any more questions. We'll leave our contact details up there. My email address there in sales, and Andy's email address if you've got any further questions. Okay, we've just got a question here in, can I create a PDF with a deal activities like log? Yeah, absolutely. So you could do that. You can do that you can create a report of deal activities as a log, so you can see deal activities by date and type of deal, etc., and status of deal. You can certainly do that and export. I think a standard feature would be able to export a report to a CSV file, but we could create a process that allows you to export that into a PDF template as well. So yeah.
I think with regards to the PDF template, I think if you wanted to, I don't think that would be possible on the cloud version. Yeah, to export. If you wanted that feature, it would have to be on the self-hosted.
Yeah, absolutely. So you could do that in a standard report tool and generate a spreadsheet from it. But if you wanted to generate a PDF, that's a custom feature that will be available on self-hosted. Absolutely.
But yeah, it's pretty straightforward because you do have access to all the data. So if you do,
I think it's I think it would need to be done by a partner usually. So I think it's a code thing. So if you want to get in touch with us, we can provide costs to do that sort of work. But I think it's an hour or two's work or something, like a couple of hours work. So maybe a little bit more. I don't know.
Okay, we'll leave our contact details up for a little longer, but thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.